Hi, everybody. This is Gutierrez. I know it's been a while since we last spoke. I've been going through a lot of personal issues that I've been having to deal with on my own. But from now on, you'll be getting consistent content from me, either every week or every other week. But no matter what, we're going to be cranking out content nonstop. Um, this week's a pretty big week. At the time I'm recording this is 2:47 a.m. in the morning of 11/12 of 2020, November 12th, 2020. I straight up could not sleep. There are three bouts this weekend, three major three. Excuse me, I can't even speak English. Maybe I need some sleep. After this, I'll get some sleep. There are three major bouts this week. There are two MMA bouts, which is one later tonight. Bellator, which is I believe, the second part of the featherweight Grand Prix that they set up. It is Pedro Cavallo taking on Patricio Pitbull for his Bellator featherweight strap. And he is also the Bellator lightweight champion after defeating Michael Chandler for his lightweight championship belt. By first round knockout. Pedro Cavallo, 11-3, very well rounded, up and comer. Is very young. He's very green, but we'll see what he can do against Patricio Pitbull as Pitbull defends his featherweight title. And then beneath that, on the I believe it's the quarterfinal. You have guys who have already had a crack at Patricio Pitbull's Bellator featherweight strap. You basically have a bout between Daniel Weichel, who's already had a crack at it twice. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way. And you have another fighter, Emmanuel Sanchez, who is a Duke Rufus style kickboxer. Now, he's very dangerous off his back, very reminiscent of Anthony Showtime Pettis. He's got some very fancy kicks. He's got some very nasty angles. He moves very well. He can fight at both orthodox and southpaw. Um, Daniel Weichel can do it all, though. He can strike. He's got very disciplined striking. He's got very good straight punches. He's got some very good wrestling. He's very strong in the clinch, and he's not afraid to fish for submissions either. Excuse me. Um, those four men are going to put on phenomenal bouts, in my opinion. That is very much a sleeper card. And Aaron Pico was fighting on the undercard in the feature bout of the undercard, so Bellator is looking pretty stacked. Um, for UFC, the main event is Paul Felder versus Rafael dos Anjos. Now, this is about for both guys in which they must win. Uh, Paul Felder, of course, is the part-time commentator for the UFC cage side. And if you look at Paul Felder as a fighter, he's another Duke Rufus guy. He's trained with Donald Cowboy Cerrone. He's a Taekwondo black belt. He's got some very phenomenal kicks. He's got very phenomenal striking. He knocked out Danny Castillo in his UFC debut with a spinning back fist. Excuse me. But Paul Felder was on a little bit of a winning streak until it was snapped against his bout with Dan Hooker. A lot of people felt like Paul Felder should have gotten the nod on that fight, myself included. Felt like Paul Felder's pressure and his volume should have won him that fight, but Dan Hooker survived and showed a lot of grit and came through on top. But unfortunately, he lost that fight, and this is a business where you're as good as your last fight. Now, Rafael dos Anjos is very much in the hot seat for this fight. He was the former lightweight champion at 155 pounds. He'd won it against the Wheaties box fighter, and Anthony Showtime Pettis, the former WEC lightweight champion. Then he had defended it once against Donald Cowboy Cerrone, and then he had lost it against Eddie Alvarez on a UFC Fight Pass card, which a lot of people did not see. And then he went up in weight to go contest for to go make a case for him being a contestant for the welterweight division in the UFC. and he did just that with beating guys like Ruthless Robbie Lawler, Neil Magny, and then he fought Colby Covington, and Colby Covington just basically used his size against him. That fight was actually for a interim welterweight championship belt that unfortunately Rafael dos Anjos was not able to get his hands on, and ever since then he's been having a lot of trouble with the bigger, faster, younger, stronger opposition in the welterweight division with guys like Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards basically just took it to Rafael dos Anjos. Rafael dos Anjos tried to get it done against, or try to get it back with a victory over Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee had been wanting to go up and wait for a while. He finally did that, and unfortunately, it did not go his way. The more experienced Rafael dos Anjos was just better, just more experienced. He just waited out the storm. He just basically weathered the storm that was the Tank and Kevin Lee. But hats off to Kevin Lee. Rafael dos Anjos is very much in the hot seat for this one. After trying to regain the title in two different divisions, and then you come back down to a division and that you left, in which your whole reason was because you were depriving yourself and your body of nutrients and energy and strength and speed and every advantage that you felt that you had. You're basically giving all that up again. It's going to be very interesting to see how Rafael dos Anjos looks, but this is a short notice fight for Paul Felder, so we will see what happens. Now, the main card, here's the thing. I'm a huge Terence Crawford fan. I feel like he's one of the best pound-for-pound boxers of this generation. A lot of people don't appreciate his resume, but here's the thing, guys. Terence Crawford's one of the best in the world. A lot of people are going to say that he's with the wrong promotion, that he should be somewhere else because the guys in his weight class are with PBC or Showtime. He's with Top Rank. Guys in the zone. But he's taking on a guy in Special K, Kell Brook. Now, Kell Brook, his only two losses are to guys like Errol Spence Jr. and Gennady Golovkin. But other than that, Kell Brook, if you look at his fight with Sean Porter, he can do it all. He could switch stances. Actually, later in his career, much later in his career, more recently in his career, actually, he's become a little bit more of a switch hitter. But if you actually look at Kell Brook, and if you're an English boxing fan, his style kind of reminds you, or should remind you a little bit of Chris Eubank, very young Chris Eubank. Pretty slick jab, a very crafty 1-2, and that 1-2 would come on the half beat, strong and hard. Occasionally, he would throw the 1-2 on the half beat to the chest or the solar plexus area, so you drop your hands, and then he would start leading with his right hand, and then he would just obliterate you with combinations and openings and angles that he created by setting up traps, by getting your hands to move where he wanted you to move them. And he was powerful, he was smart, but he's got his work cut out for him against somebody like Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford naturally is a switch hitter. He'll analyze you for the first round, maybe the first couple of rounds, if that, and then for the rest of the 9 or 10 rounds, if you make it that long, he'll box you up in southpaw and in the southpaw stance, and make you look like you don't belong in there with them, and make you look like you don't know what they're doing. He makes fighters look like they don't know what they're doing. Despite what you want to say about his opposition, he's taken these zeros away from 7 undefeated fighters. At one point in time, Yuri Gamboa, I know he just lost to Devin Haney, but when he fought Terrence Crawford, he was undefeated at that point in time. Um, the mean machine, the mean machine. I can't pronounce his actual full name, but he was I believe he was a two-time Olympian and a gold medalist, if I'm not mistaken. And he had Terrence Crawford in a lot of trouble, but Terrence Crawford persevered and he came through, and he ended up knocking out the mean machine, stopping him devastatingly. Um, if you look at his fight with Amir King Khan, he made easy work of Amir King Khan. You know, uh, as Andre Ward would say, the boo birds are out there. The boo birds exist. Oh, he's never fought anybody, and this and that. It's not that he's never fought anybody. He's just making them look like they don't know what they're doing. Um, Against Kell Brook, I'm not going to say it's easy work, and I don't think that Kell Brook is over the hill either. I very much do believe that Kell Brook still has it. Um, I don't believe that the fights against Gennady Golovkin or Errol Spence Jr. have hurt him in any way, shape, or form, because those are the only two fights that he's lost. And if you look at his fight against Sean Porter, he hung in there, and that was a war. That was a dogfight. That was a very calculated dogfight. Kell Brook and Terrence Crawford are a couple of fighters who really can't do it all. So, as I said, this week's bouts are very, very interesting. So, thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of Total Fight Mike. We will be looking at next week's bouts, and I will see you guys in the sequel. Thank you guys so much. Bye, everybody.